There was a place in the heart of the city that didn't exist on any map. Hidden between a quiet alleyway and the back wall of an old post office, a black iron gate stood half covered in ivy. Most people passed it without noticing, their minds too busy to see what wasn't supposed to be there. But 16-year-old Leona had always noticed what others didn't. She'd walked past that alley hundreds of times, but it wasn't until the morning after her dream that she saw the gate shimmering faintly as if inviting her to step through. In her dream, she had stood before a vast library built into the sky, its shelves stretching into clouds, and a voice had whispered, "The stories are waiting." Leona stepped through the gate. What lay beyond was not a back alley, but a stone pathway lined with glowing lanterns. The air smelled of old paper, lavender, and something else, something ancient. At the end of the path stood a building unlike any she'd seen. It wasn't large, but it felt deep. The front door, carved from dark wood and etched with strange symbols, opened on its own with a soft creak as she approached. Inside, the library was silent. It was larger on the inside than the outside should allow. Tall shelves curved like waves, filled with books that hummed gently when she walked past. The light was warm, golden, like a sun trapped inside the ceiling. No dust, no cobwebs. Everything was pristine, alive. She took cautious steps deeper into the library, drawn toward the center. There stood a wide circular desk made of a shimmering material that looked like glass and water at the same time. Behind it, an old man with eyes the color of starlight watched her patiently. "You've arrived," he said. Leona hesitated. "What is this place?" "The Whispering Library," he said, "where stories are not just read, they are lived." She frowned. "I don't understand." He gestured toward the shelves. "These are not ordinary books. Each one holds a life, a memory, a moment lost to time. When someone enters the library, it offers them one book, meant only for them. You may read it or you may live it, but once you choose, the story becomes yours." Leona looked around, unsure what to say. But then, as if summoned, a single book slid off a shelf and floated toward her. It was wrapped in pale blue leather, bound with a silver thread. Her name was etched into the cover in delicate handwriting. She took the book. It was warm to the touch, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. She looked at the old man. "If I open it, what happens?" "That depends on what the story holds. It may be a forgotten dream, a past you once lived, a future that could be. You will not be harmed, but you may never see the world the same way again." Leona opened the book. The world shifted. She was no longer in the library. She was standing in a wide meadow under a sky painted with two suns. Trees grew upside down, their roots tangled with stars. Birds made of ink flew in swirling patterns above her. She looked at her hands. They glowed faintly. A whisper echoed through the air. "You are the rememberer." In the distance, a tower rose from the ground like it was growing. Made entirely of mirrors, it reflected skies that weren't there. Leona felt a pull, a knowing. She walked toward it. The grass whispered in her steps. As she neared the tower, a gate opened with no touch. Inside was a spiral staircase, each step labeled with words she had written long ago in her childhood journals, phrases, questions, names she had forgotten. At the top was a room filled with floating orbs, each showing a different scene. In one, she saw her mother singing to her as a baby. In another, she saw herself standing at a crossroads. And in the last orb, she saw the old man from the library, younger walking through the same meadow. A voice behind her said, "The past lives in pieces. You are here to put them together." She turned. A figure cloaked in silver stood beside her. No face, only light. "Why me?" Leona asked. "Because you listened, because you saw the gate, because you remembered the dream." Leona reached for one of the orbs. As her fingers touched it, a wave of sound and emotion flooded her. Laughter, sorrow, a forgotten summer's breeze. The orb dissolved into her hand. One by one, she absorbed the orbs. With each one, a part of her memory grew clearer, not just of her own life, but of others. Strangers whose names she didn't know. Moments she hadn't lived, but somehow remembered. The tower pulsed with light. "You are the keeper now," said the figure. "Return to the library." In a blink, she was back. The book in her hands was closed. The old man smiled. "And so, your story begins." Leona looked around. The shelves were different now. Thousands more had appeared. Each book whispered softly in her ears. She stayed in the library